Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at a Friday night slate here that's pretty full, Nate. We're going to finish off this opening week in the NBA. In this one, we are talking about the Hornets and the Pelicans here in Charlotte. We've got a pretty nice game set up here with a lot of offense, I'm pretty sure. Do want to make sure you're liked and subscribed to that page. Got a couple other videos up for you today, including that player props video. We're bringing you each and every weekday this regular season. Also want you to head to thelines.com, have all of our great written content up there for you guys all season, and our great odds finder tool on there to make sure you guys are shopping those lines to the best of your ability across U.S. Sportsbook this NBA season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into that full schedule we have for tonight's Friday night slate in the NBA.
Yeah, it starts with that game we're leading off with here. Pelicans are -7 at the Hornets. Total is 228.5 as we speak. Then we got Spurs +2 at the Pacers, 232 total. We're also going to talk about that game in another video. Bulls are +2 at the Wiz, Magic +9 at the Hawks, Pistons +7 at your Knicks. The Celtics -3 now at the Heat, gaining a little steam. Raptors +3 at the Nets, despite Brooklyn's feeble performance in their opener. Jazz +8 at Wolves. Memphis is -7 at Houston. The Nuggets +4.5 at the Warriors. And then the Suns -5 at the Blazers. So, yeah, I'm starting with this game, the Pelicans Hornets, because to me, it's pretty simple. As long as Zion's on the floor, the Pelicans are going to be extremely efficient on offense. And they should especially be efficient in this matchup against Charlotte, who we know just doesn't defend. Allowed 115 points per game last year. Allowed 49 points per game in the paint last year. Zion's only faced them once in his career. And it was a 118-110 game, which would put you right at this total right now. But here's the thing with the Hornets. LaMelo came off the bench in that game. That was January of last season, 2 seasons ago, in fact. So LaMelo's a rookie. They played at a pace of just 94 in that game. The next 2 meetings, 104.5, 101 pace. We know what the Pels do when they get Zion out there, they play at a 101 pace. They score 116.5, offensive rating of 115. In their opener this year, 130 on the Nets with a 126 offensive rating, 62 paint points, 31 assists. And the point is, like, they could have had more if the Nets were coming along. And for some, obviously the awkward reasons of Ben Simmons and Kyrie's headspace, the Nets were not able to come along. But Charlotte was impressive on offense in their opener. I mean, certainly benefiting from facing the Spurs, who might be the worst team in the league, but a 124 offensive rating, 129 points, shooting 44% from 3 is unsustainable, but playing at a pace of 104 is sustainable. And so that's really what we're targeting here, is pace and space. The total actually bet down a point since I started looking at this. I was going to suggest some alternative overs of 232 maybe, get plus 130 on that. Because, I mean, yeah, even when the Hornets went under last year, like 3 of their last 4, the totals were still 229, 232, and 235, going 1 point under their ridiculously high totals. I think they will continue to be a sieve defensively and score in bucket in droves here early in the season.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Pellies are going to be fun. I mean, they have to be up there in the top league pass rankings, right? They're just going to be pace and space. You've got one of the most versatile, massive, athletic people that's ever played the game on one side of the ball, with a bunch of skilled guys now that, BI and CJ McCollum, it's like 2 guys that are just so perfect to play off of Zion. And that already sort of seemed to be the indication in game 1 of the season that we're going to see that. And look, I don't expect Brooklyn's defense to get that much better this season than it was in that first game, to be honest with you. I mean, 130 points is not going to be given up to everybody. It's just New Orleans' offense is going to be that efficient this season. I think they're one of the teams up there with likelihood to score the most points this season, right next to the Timberwolves, who, as we know, play the similar type of space and pace and space as well. I do like your alternate overs. I do like Nola to win this game. 7 points doesn't really scare me in a Charlotte team that I think we expect to be very, very, very bad this season, and definitely very, very bad on offense. And that's where we start and end this conversation with this game, is just pace and 3-point shooting, specifically the lack of defense on the 3-point on the perimeter for both of these teams, who ended last season, I believe, third worst and sixth worst in terms of their opponent's 3-point percentage and 3-pointers made. Just giving up a ton of stuff on the wings there without much resistance. Now you talk about Charlotte not even having Miles Bridges there on the wing, and that obviously just worsens that D. Gordon Hayward, another guy on the Hornets who you're looking at to potentially step up and be able to handle some of that, the wing defense issues that they have and maybe clean some of it up. What already really wasn't the case in game one for them, although they obviously had that big shootout. So I think it's really simple here. You just keep it. You don't really try to overthink this one. If you want to incorporate a money line bet in there, fine. I don't love -7 nearly as much as I love over 229.5. And to your point, why not go 235, 232.5, get a bunch more juice on your, on that bet there. When in reality, this one is just going to continue to be a lack of defense. Sometimes I get a little bit nervous, and it's the beginning of the season, which kind of quells that for me in terms of that anxiety about, two teams coming out with these expectations that they're going to score 250 points. And then all of a sudden, we see a first quarter that ends at a total of 52, 53, and you're kind of worried, but it's like, I'm still not, because there's still 70-point quarters that are super possible in this game, as we saw when they matched up last year without Zion as well. So really looking forward actually to watching this game and just seeing a ton of offense on lead pass tonight. And then likelihood that the Pellies pull this one out. I think they're just going to be a very, very, very good team this season, and Charlotte's going to be at the bottom of the East. The Pellies are going to be in the middle of the West, so it's a big lopsided matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should have led in that opener talking about LaMelo's actually going to be out again here. He's going to miss the first few games with a rolled ankle. But, I mean, the Hornets clearly continued to push the pace without him. Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, very efficient offensively. And that's what we've seen across the league, is this kind of doubt us and we'll come out and win these October games that no one's expecting, or at least compete, is what you're looking for here if you want the over. I mean, yeah, we saw the Jazz freaking beat the Nuggets on opening night. We saw other teams exceed expectations early on. Yeah. And so, I mean, if you're not comfortable backing the Hornets lineup offense there because LaMelo's out, that's fair. I think you look at the Pelicans team total in that sense, but I think they're the ones who are going to drag you to this over. We're going to score somewhere between 115 and 125, maybe even more if the pace stays up where it is. Look, they went 16-7 to the over when listed as a road favorite since 2020. Not a huge over team last year because, of course, no Zion. But, I mean, in this matchup, yeah, I mean, who's going to slow him down? PJ Washington will give it a shot. But if it's not Zion, like you said, perfect fits alongside him with BI, with CJ. And, hopefully the Hornets just come along for the ride at home.
Yeah, I think what we're saying here is we expect the Pellies to score 125 to 130. So we're really not worried about what happens after that with the Hornets. I know their offense is not quite as good, obviously, when you have LaMelo Ball in there, which they will not for a bit. But, other guys do step up. They have some really nice numbers for Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward in those games where LaMelo doesn't play, right? You obviously get a bunch more points from Gordon. You get a few more shot attempts from Terry. Not that really anybody's cutting into Scary Terry's opportunity to eat and get shots up, but even with LaMelo out, obviously, even Scary Terry's usage rate goes up a bit. So I think there is obviously some ways to attack those guys' props here. You still have, I believe, Gordon Hayward at about 16.5 points. He just came off a 20-point performance. Obviously, you're always wondering how he's going to come back. Which Gordon Hayward are we getting at this point? We're getting one with a terrible haircut to start the season, but regardless of that, at least he's healthy finally to open the season for the first time and should be playing a few more games for them. So I do like those guys' ability to get some points up tonight at 21.5 for Terry, 16.5 for Gordon. I'll probably go ahead and hit that Gordon one as well to sprinkle a little bit on Terry there. So it's going to be a fun one tonight for this one. Definitely want to make sure you liked and subscribed as well, so you can continue to follow along with us. Check out our other game video we have up for you on this Friday slate and our player props video as well. Until we see you next, happy betting.